Yo, Crypto Nation and mining family, what is going on? What up, what up, what up? All you happy hashers out there. Well, maybe not so happy these days. Hell, I even know that frickin' Red Panda Mining's been shutting down most of his GPU mining operation. People are now starting to catch up to where I'm sitting at now, where we are at almost a give or take, roughly about a 30% pullback so far. And historically, during most of these bull and bear run markets, during a bearish market, we have an 80% pullback historically, and we have yet to see an 80% true pullback, which realistically, that would set the line to being right around, well, give or take, $25,000, between $22,000 to $25,000 Bitcoin is about where the price really should be, guys. It's like I know I beat a dead horse occasionally on this one. So let's go ahead and just kind of get into it right off the rip, right? But what is going on? What is going on, everybody? Definitely, certainly smash that like button as you guys are sliding on in. Subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. And let's dig in. Let's not even waste any time with this one. I don't even know if my audio is working here. Yes, it is. Cool. I didn't check that before switching on to this. All right, cool. So here we have that nice little market, and we wick down to about $74,000. 74,678 is where the wick ran out to, and then there was enough bulls in the market to sit there and rescue what's going on here. But what are we looking at right now? If we close out today, we will have put in a lower high and a lower low. This means that we haven't found market bottom. We've recovered a little bit from a quick snap-off sell, but that tells me we have much more on the table. The DCA oscillator down at the bottom here, you can see that the programming has not even signaled for market stopping for a potential buying opportunity. That is off the table right now. Everything is just pointing very, very bearish. And if we think about it like this, we see that the wick was right at that 74,000, about 74,500, 600. But where we really should be at, guys, I know this is not very popular when I say this, about $23,000 is where, if you were to take linear growth, a good growth where it's not going parabolic, not crashing out, so we don't have extreme bears and extreme bull markets, right? The market average should be around $22,000 to $23,000 per Bitcoin as it stands right now. Where do I get these numbers from, guys? I know. What I'm saying here is absolutely not popular in the slightest freaking bit, guys. And I get it. I totally get it. But where I'm coming from on this is, if you were to take a market that has been around for a vast majority of time, and you were to take the average price and just take that average price from the very start all the way up until now, and exclude any of the extreme peaks or extreme dips out of there, and take an average snapshot of the entire market. Now, you can't do this on a newer coin. You don't have enough data set points, so you don't know where that market sentiment is. But with Bitcoin, we're over 10 years. You can easily do this with any company, any project that has 10 years worth of growth. I took the average price for right now, like I said, should be, right around, give or take, that $23,000 per Bitcoin. So what does that tell you, guys? We are in an extreme bull market. Now, are we going to have the correction that's required to bring us back down to the average? I have no idea. This is just a guesstimate that it looks like we should be primed like a powder keg for this to happen. You know, it's like Bitcoin went to $20,000 per Bitcoin, crashed down to 3,000. Now, I understand that as the market grows, it's harder to get that 80% drawback. So, with that being stated, if I'm looking at a market, if I was going to say, you know, what could be a feasible drawback? 50%. Here's the kicker. We're halfway there. What up, John Jermaine? We got the Lemon Tree Gang in the house. We're halfway there. I mean, you think about it, we had 109, almost $110,000 Bitcoin. Think about that. We've had about it. You know, it's like if you got 100,000, if you got 100, every 10 is 10%. You know, it's kind of relative at that point, right? So we're sitting at around a 30% drawback already. We should have enough market movement to be able to drop back another 20%. Now, once you're at that 50%, you're kind of ranging in the market of where you think it should be landed at versus what the market sentiment is in the buying market side of it, right? So another 20% would put us into the $50,000 per Bitcoin range. 50 to 60,000, right around there. From there, that's where you'd make your evaluation a second time to see if the market is still pushing downward, where there is still much more downward pressure. And you can sit there and look at a bunch of other markets too, because we have a bunch of markets that have, you know, with the Trump tariff, have taken a nosedive. And to sit there and think, oh, Bitcoin's decoupled, bullshit. The same investors that are in the stock market are in crypto. So when they get scared, they pull out, and they got a lot more dollars than we do collectively. You're not going to see bad sentiment coming from the government and retail like me and you going, oh my God, I got to go back into dollars. Let me get out of everything. No. These tariffs, yes, they affect us for goods and services that we're purchasing. But we're not going to have this overnight shockwave like that from retail. That's something that we've seen time and time again from the stock market. So we can tell that it's the trading market, which is going to be made up of crypto traders and crypto and stock traders that have bled over, that are now pulling all of their money out because they're afraid that these new tariffs are going to, you know, cause a real evaluation. Now remember that. Remember that little key thing there. They're afraid of a reevaluation. There's only one reevaluation that most companies are more afraid of, and that's the reevaluation on their loans. Most of these loans that most companies have also have variable interest rates. So these variable interest rates, if they go the wrong direction for them, they're going to see pretty good amounts of pain, because it's going to be an extra expenditure on their end. So I see a lot of what these companies are doing is that they know that it's about to the money that they're spending for what they need to do for their operational day-to-day business. That's being affected because there's stuff that, let's say it's an American company, they got to buy it from another country. Their prices of everything just went up 25%. You know, depending on what market we're looking at. I don't think all markets got a blanket 25% tariff on there. I think some of it was like they brought them up to that 25% mark on certain things. But if I'm sitting there and my expenditure just went up, and I know that my clientele isn't going to be able to afford the full brunt of that. That means I'm going to eat part of this. Which that means that if there is a reevaluation on the interest on said loan, because the loan's not going to change. The only thing that changes is the loan interest. So if the loan interest changes on top of them making, let's say, 2% less profits, on a company that's been debt loaded, that's epic. We're now looking at a priming of a powder keg that could, not saying that it is, but we could be looking at a market that is going to be primed to drop out further. And we all know that that's going to affect us home miners directly. That means whatever profitability you think you have right now will be eviscerated. So I'm like, I tell people, like, you know, kind of be cautious in these markets, just because of the fact that with these type of markets, if we swing too quickly for us home miners, we go from, you know, making 5 cents per day off of a 50/80 to, you know, being negative 5 cents. Why is that? Because people are going to start selling in order to get what they're looking for. And you got to remember, guys, when we're in the altcoin market, we're spec mining and all that stuff, the same people that are looking at finances on a global scale, like myself, are also going to be looking at these shit coins and going, well, I've been mining this and I better get this in the Bitcoin now so that I can sit there and buy equipment now before these tariffs really settle in. So that's something else that we got to be careful of, is that we're going to be watching some of these bigger mining firms that have been mining shit coins speculatively. I don't think there's hardly any of those really left these days. But there was a lot of mining farms, and I know a lot of these mining farms swapped over to AI development. So, but doesn't say that there's not a portion of what they're doing still GPU mining. These people are going to be taking the coins that they have been mining, and they are going to be putting downward pressure on there because they need to get equipment. And they need to get the equipment before the tariffs. You know, they need to buy the equipment that's already here before everybody else gets to it. And then there's new tariffs on all the new stuff coming in, and that will cause all their bottom lines to go up, which then turns around, they're going to be like, oh, look, I need to get a loan. Now their cost is up 25% on them being able to do business. So we're watching a lot of places just jockey money around right now, trying to, in my opinion, I think they're trying to jockey money around so that they can purchase equipment on stuff that doesn't have the higher tariffs yet. Business standpoint, perfect idea. For us, sucks to be us, right? Because we're just watching profitability just get eviscerated on these markets. I mean, just a small 30% swing. A 30% swing is all it really takes. And you know, we're being eviscerated in profitability. I mean, you can sit there and you can see it from here at 11 cents per kilowatt hour. 5 cents on a 50/80. I know Red Panda, he's somewhere around 7, it's like between 7 and 8 cents per kilowatt hour. You know, let's say you got that 7, you got that glory electricity, right? You'd actually be able to mine a little bit longer. A little. And I'm talking so minuscule, it is unreal. Sure, there's some stuff that you can sit there and call profitability on this chart. A 4070 Ti making 13 cents a day. This is not accounting for any kind of cooling solution. If you're making 13 cents a day and you've got a regular, let's say you got a single box fan blowing onto that card. Well, you got a couple of rigs and you've got a single box fan that's blowing, circulating air around 2 rigs. single box fan, you're talking about a couple of bucks a day in running it. You know, give or take. You're between $1, like, because that thing's going to be running around the clock with your cards. It is a much larger motor than what your card is running. It's going to be at least one full rig, depending on the fans you got, right? Fans I've got, it's about 75, 80 cents a day to run my fans. So, you know, you're looking at that. Let's say, you know, let's take my best card that I have that would be making that would be making money on this list. Oh my God, it's a 6800 XT, so 10 cents. I've only got one of these, right? So 10 cents a day. And then let's see, my next best card that I have. Oh, nope, I don't have this one. Let's see here. Oh, I got a 3080 Ti. So 17 cents so far between two cards. And then 3090s. I can be making 7 cents off of these ones too. So I got a full rig of these, you know. So you're talking about 8 of these, you know. I'm basically, with all of my rigs, my profitability goes to running one fan. I've got 3 of them. Yeah, because 3090s, they put off the heat. You know, they're heat monsters. So you got to move the air around them. So I have at least 2 fans I would have to run to be able to run my 3090 rig. Think about that. You know, so I'm $2 in, let's say. For argument's sake, I'm $2 in on my cooling. And between my main PC, a 3090 rig, and then my 3090 mixed rig, so two rigs and one computer here. And my computer is liquid cooled. So me running a 3080 Ti, oh yeah, it's profitable, 13 cents. I will guarantee you that my custom water blocking system on here is pulling more power than what that card will ever mine right now. So I'm not putting the wear and tear on my computer to be mining at break even. If you got an unlimited budget and you're just like, oh, I'm mining and hodling, I'm gonna still fucking question you if you're breaking even and putting wear and tear on your equipment. It's like, if you're gonna break even, turn your equipment off, save the hassle, and just buy Bitcoin and hodl. You know, that would be what I would do. I'm not telling you guys what to do, but that's what I would do. I know so many people are like, but I if you got free power, then mine the hell away, dude. You've got the golden power rate, you know, free. $3.99. Then it makes sense to, you know, to mine whatever you can get your hands on that's efficient to run on you at your place. That makes complete sense. But for me though, yeah, I mean, this would be the absolute best case. You know, that's at somebody at 7 cents per kilowatt hour. That's not where I'm at. I'm at 11, which that puts me with one card at my power rate is profitable at 6 cents per kilowatt hour. There is nobody that is at basically at my power rate and above. There is no point to mining. You might as well just turn your rigs off, and you guys know I love GPU mining. I love ASIC mining. I'm still ASIC mining. Don't get me wrong here. I've got my BitX. I got my lottery ticket still rolling. My solo miner BitX. There will be a video coming out about that stuff. That'll be fun. Oh. We got the Crypto Mikkel signed in under the DCA Adventure. What's up? What's up, my dude? It's like, nope. Then who? Oh, then we either get a Chris or a Gundy then. Like, what you doing in the DCA Adventure stuff? But, it's like, no, I did not. I did not. I have been dealing with a whole bunch of other stuff. This is like, realistically, the first that I've really sat down on my computer for a little while. Hell yeah. But no, I did not see that post from DCA Adventure. I'll have to take a look at that. 700 views since last night. Dude, nice. Nice. $700 views. Nice. I love it. Love it. I'll definitely have to see what that's all about. I mean, I probably can be part of that right meow. Let's see here. Crazy cats. You gifted yourself a sub. Nice. Let's see here. We have the DCAs. Let's see here. We have Did you post a short or something? Had to be a short, because there was like a video from a year ago that was posted, and the other one has to be a short.
Never did.
Yep, it's the short. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was the short. Okay. Yeah, I did not look at that. But that is funny. Shorts are a little different though. Little on the different side though when it comes to like how YouTube treats it. But yeah. Anyway, getting back on topic here. But we're, it's like we're looking at the let's see here. I got somebody in my driveway. Oh, okay, you're just turning around. Get out of my driveway. Somebody turning around in my driveway. I'm like thinking I'm not going to see that. One of the drawbacks of having a driveway being the second house in from the corner. Sometimes my driveway becomes a turnaround spot. Oop. That's the mama bit. My mom trying to call me. I tried calling her way earlier. I'll have to call her back when I'm done here. All right. Anyway, back on topic. Rabble. But yeah, I mean, we're looking at like a practically no profitability here for anybody in this market. Oops, wrong one. There we go. So, I mean, even when you come up over to, let's say, ASIC mining on all of this stuff, right? Here we are with the ASIC miners. This is at 11 cents per kilowatt hour. And this is some of the reasons why I've been a little bit of a proponent for ASIC mining a little bit. The ASIC mining allows for, yes, we all know dedicated hardware, but it is, you're going to be looking at profitability if you were able to get your hands on any of this equipment well before now, right? Trying to pick up, let's say, you're looking at this ETC hash miner, the Jasminer X44P. I love some of that Ethereum Classic. I love Ethereum Classic. That is the original Ethereum. But it's like you're going to be looking at if you can get your hands on them. If you could get your hands on one, And let me see if they're who I would trust out of here. BT Miners is trustable that I know of. Let's see here. Miner Bros. And then Mine Shop. But, you know, you're looking at anywhere from $10,000 and up. $10,000 to $14,000. That is big bucks. $14,000 to basically make $3,000 in a year. You know, it's like you're basically, if let's say you're able to get that at for that $10,000, right? You're looking at 4 years to you know, basically equal the same value that you spent out. That's crazy. There's no point on grabbing these ASICs at these prices, guys. $5,000 for a Volk Miner D1 Hydro for Litecoin. $5,000 to make $7 a day. No, it's a little bit more stomachable at this pricing. That, you know, you spend $5,000 that you're gonna make $724, and if you think about it, you know, you're spending more than that for you know, for 3 GPUs now. You get 3 new tier generations, you know, the 5090s, and you're over $5,000 in 3 cards. So the hash rate prices are relative at the end of the day. You know, it's like Bitmain's S21 Hydro. This is not feasible for anybody at home to run. These Hydros run on 3-phase. So there's no way possible you at home are going to grab this one. Let's see here. We're looking at that L9 Bitmain miner. You're at $6,800 for $6 a day. And you're paying a premium because it's a Bitmain. You get the Bitmain tax on that. You can get the Vulcan miner, the little brother, and get it for a little over $3,000, and be making just under $6 a day. And that will, you know, as the Bitcoin price starts to plummet, we are not making that kind of money. It's going to be a diminishing return. I mean, think about this. If the electric price doubled from where it's at today, you know, these people would be making $2 a day here and there. That's not that is not sustainable in any way, shape, or form. So we have to make decisions on this stuff of how we are going to be making mining moves here. Continuing forward as an at-home mining community, because there's no GPU mining coin that has given itself any value to us miners to warrant, one, the hash rate, the security level, and giving us a use case of what I can utilize your project for. Is this project you know, based like Ethereum, where it's a building platform? Is it a data harvesting platform? Are you trying to be, you know, money? Because like each one of these use cases, like it's harder and harder to break these projects into use cases that are going to be something that it could be grassroots, have some grassroots behind it. And then watching the crypto pricing just absolutely break down from where it's at. I mean, sure, we're having a little bit of a recovery phase right at this moment, and the recovery phase, we're still under $80,000 per Bitcoin, so we're still at that 30%. We're still 30% drop. I mean, whether people want to admit it or not, we were almost at $110,000. We're under 80,000. That's a 30% drawback. Ethereum hasn't even hit half of its all-time high. Fucking struggle buses to see $2,000 per Ethereum, and Ethereum was marketed as a building platform. And since they've gotten rid of all the builders, now it's a value extraction platform. They went from let's build shit onto here to let's extract all the value until there's nothing left. So Ethereum's in essence on a death spiral right now. And it's like, and then you got the XRP army guys. They're all, XRP is gonna flip Bitcoin. It's like not until it can figure out how to decouple itself from Bitcoin, because Bitcoin dropped, so did XRP. The rest of the market dropped. Why? Because all the same big money is the same big money that's sitting over here. And here we have the S&P 5,000 definitely took a small pullback. Nothing as bad as when the scamdemic started, but it's like for somebody to watch 10-15% of their portfolio eviscerate at a few $1 million, that's going to be enough to make somebody sweat bullets. And what are they going to do is that they're going to see themselves losing money here. They're going to see themselves losing money over here. Apple down almost 4%. Amazon will do okay. Alphabet and Meta, as long as people are doing advertisements, they'll always do good. Tesla is being attacked by the retard climate people. Microsoft doing, having a pullback. Johnson & Johnson having a pullback. J.P. Morgan Chase, they never let a bad market sentiment go to waste, right? Walmart doing okay. Procter & Gamble taking a pretty good hit too. This is absolutely normal stuff that we would see whenever market sentiment drops. So the market doesn't know exactly what's going to be happening. Same thing in the whole crypto market too. It's like all the markets are all pointing that it is not going to be doing good. What up, Rude, my dude? We got the futures markets here. This is paper gold, paper Bitcoin, paper copper. These are things that you're promising to take hold of this in the future. This is like sitting there and playing a game of hot potato. But all your precious metals should do good in markets like this, but we also just plateaued here and have found a resting point for the day. Because the end of the bell for stock market will close down here, and as soon as the bell rings for that, a lot of your major movements stops for overnight. Your major traders don't trade overnight. So typically you'll see a little rebounding towards the end of the day. We'll have to see what happens whenever the bell opens up tomorrow, how much the market tries to go into free fall. Because again, we're a lot of this is like blowback from the whole tariff thing, and we are definitely going into a complete tariff war. Every country is going to start tariffing the shit out of each other. Why? Because everybody's going to start doing this to everybody else because their economies are garbage right now because they have printed too much money. And right now, the interest rates on these loans that all these countries took out are due. And they can't keep on kicking the can down the road. The can was kicked down the road for the last 50, 60 years. The piper's to be paid now. We're the future that they robbed. So we're going to be watching a lot of these bigger firms in the next, I want to say, probably in the next few months. We're going to see if any of these big companies decide to go belly up. And like I've been hinting at this whole time, that over the last few videos, we are looking at these companies on the brink of bankruptcy. What you would think is a profitable corporation, you're like, how does this company going to be going out of business when each location is making millions a year? Because big firms, asset management companies, have bought them up and loaded them with debt and extracted everything out of these companies. So this is like a powder keg just waiting to go off. I'm sitting back going, okay, this is going to be an interesting one, because if we have a bunch of companies that are debt loaded that go belly up here in the United States, and I know of 5 companies that are about to go belly up here, if this starts a chain reaction, I mean, we watched what happened with the 5 banks during like a year or two ago, with them just imploding. They're gonna be imploding in a way that we've never seen before. I'm telling you, I'm absolutely telling you guys, it'll be a way in which we have never seen. I'm actually kind of, a lot of this won't affect us. I'll tell you that right now. A lot of this will not affect us. It's going to affect your bigger investors. But for me and you, what we're going to notice is that certain things are going to go up a little bit extra in price. And there'll be more people looking for work. Now, with that being stated, now if everybody sits there and gets the illegals out of, each reciting country gets the illegals out, it will leave enough jobs for the people that are supposed to be there. So this is like kind of like one of those dual edged swords with all of this stuff. Like interest rates on credit cards above 20%. What the fuck? I know. Yep. Hey, I don't even want to hear that. Like, I made one late payment years ago. It was more than a decade ago. I made one late payment because the credit card company had changed their dates, the due date on there, and moved it. Oh God, it was like 4 days earlier. That's all it was. They changed their billing cycle 4 days on me. I had everything set up to be just auto paid through my bank account. Ever since then, over a decade ago, I'm on the highest interest rate possible that you can be given legally, which is 29% by default. So I pay the highest fucking interest rate for a billing issue more than a decade ago. It was like 2008, somewhere right around there. One late payment, done. Absolutely done. So unfortunately, it's like, Pepe, stop being a dick. It's like kicking off Pepe kicking off Zeus off the pillow. Makes me want to sit there and kick you off the pillow too. I'm gonna wait until you get nice and comfy, and then I'm gonna go kick you off of it. Just so you know how it feels. So go ahead, get comfy. I'll kick you off too. Stupid cat. Like that one is as dumb as can be. Seriously, this is like one of the stupidest cats I've ever had. I love them, but you're dumb as shit. And you're a dickhead. So, yeah, I'm curious to see where things are gonna lie here. I think by the end of the week, I'll have more data basically, and it'll help me make that decision of which direction I think the total market sentiment's going to be overall. That's just going to be my thought process on all of this, is that we are going to be, looking at a market that potentially could be going into a free fall. But we also have a bunch of countries that are now getting a hold of Trump and begging for something, for change. We have Israel that just went on a zero tariff with us. In other words, we won't charge them any tariffs. They're not going to charge us any tariffs. Pricings are going to be equal. So if they start trying to bring in products that are cheaper than us, that should not be flying, because Israel has partial slave labor. So we can't compete with that because slavery here, last time I checked, was illegal. So we can't compete with that. I know that, you let a company do whatever it wants, it will seek out free labor. It, like, a company's number one goal is to have maximum productivity, best product at the best price possible. So, and you can't sit there and have a product and you have quality, cheap, and expensive, right? And the quality between cheap and expensive, your quality level is where your gauge is and how close to cheap or how close to expensive you are. So there's the, like, in a free market is going to sniff that out, because if they're sitting there and they have a market that comes in with a cheap good and it has fucking zero quality to it, people are going to stop buying it real quickly. So a free market will self-correct. If not, companies stop selling products. That's just kind of how it goes. It's like the company you work for used to send a paycheck over the Christmas break. 1 year, they didn't. I bounced my credit card payment and then got stuck in the 29% loop. Oh, yeah, that'll do it. That will do it. Yep. John, you're in my boat. And there's like no correcting it. I've got decades of paying my bills on time. Only if, like, very rarely have I ever missed a payment. And it's not only like I even missed it. It's like a day late, 2 days late. You don't even get a fucking grace period. They're just like, Poppy's late. Highest interest rate forever and ever and ever. There's no turning back. Yep. That's something that we can thank Obama for. Yeah. That happened under Obama's watch, where the credit card companies can go ahead and fuck the customers over. And they certainly got a lot of people with that zero grace period. I mean, give me a 7-day grace period. Oh, shit, I didn't fucking realize that bill was due. Shit. Or the bill came in. This billing cycle was after my before I can get my paycheck for the month. Oh my God. It's like, think about the people who are on disability and they play around with the due dates on the stuff. That's epic for them. And these companies are doing that just to weasel some more extra money out of us. I get that one. That's how the credit card companies fucking work, Elon Musk knows all about that with PayPal. What up, the Deadwood? So I'm kind of curious to see what these companies are going to do. Which companies are going to fail at this point? That's a good one, because if these companies fail, they got debt loads, and then they're going to sit there and default on these loans, which means that the banks have got to eat it. And during the last crypto apocalypse, 5 banks almost got taken out? That was give or take somewhere around less than a 1% tech stock default, which shows you that these banks are over leveraged and overexposed. New lows to DCA. Oh, yes, sir. It's what it's going to be all about. I mean, some people are going to be like, oh my God, the world's crashing. So, to me, this is a time to get a coupon on the market. People that are younger than me, guys that are in your age bracket or younger, going into the early 20s. A lot of people in their early 20s, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they don't have any kind of savings. They don't have any investments. Millennials barely got any investments going off right now. So that should tell you a lot what you need to know. I'm Gen X. I'm a Gen X kid. So we're looking at, my generation of people. We're accumulating. Not like the boomers and not like the silent generation. Boomers have a lot of money, a lot of assets wrapped up with them. Not so much in Gen X, but we're starting to gain a little steam with that. But we should have already have had a good market dominance for Gen X, but we don't. Boomers are still holding on to all the cards, and every year they're sitting there taking out more loans, which is eviscerating any kind of wealth. The boomers are basically spending everything that they get. Where it's kind of funny, the silent generation, the lost generation, and the forgotten generation, which are the three generations before the boomers, they were all about wealth creation. They understood that they needed to hold on to assets. They knew that they needed to hold on to things that were going to have that would stand the test of time. Boomers got handed all of that stuff, and they have sat there, sold the lands, sold the investments, and sold off everything else that those three previous generations created so that they could live a lifestyle that allowed them to do whatever they felt like, because by golly, they deserved it. And they did not care about the future generations. They were like, fuck them. They need to learn how to do it themselves. Even though those same boomers had opportunities that they've robbed the future from. They had investments that they don't want to admit that they had in the very beginning either. I'm not saying every boomer had this. I'm saying a lot of them did. And then a lot of them had opportunities that are no longer there. Investment opportunity. And I'm not even talking about, if I would have known, I would have gotten into .com, or if I would have known, I would have gotten into Amazon early, first day one. And I'm not talking about lottery winnings like that. I'm talking about just an opportunity. I work hard, one income into a house. I can afford a house, afford some investments, and afford, figuring out how to, being an entrepreneur was a lot cheaper. To be an entrepreneur now, it'll bankrupt most people. You're sitting there working 2-3 jobs and then trying to figure out how you're going to be an entrepreneur on top of it. Because for every one person that gets an investor right off the rip, there's 500 of us that has to bankroll it ourselves, and it'll bankrupt you in the process. So these are things that these traditional finance guys are actually looking at. And that's why we're watching the market drop, because people are not sure about staying in the market, and they know that there's two things that they can for sure say is a safe haven. One, going into the very dollars that us crypto people don't like, but it is a safe haven. It's not like overnight the dollar is going to eviscerate. My stock portfolio can eviscerate overnight, but the dollar won't. And then same thing with gold. So a lot of your investors, they're getting into, and it's some of the reasons why we're watching things like this, where the gold market is actually up a little bit, even in the futures market, because people are looking at the gold side of things as being the safer haven. And if I'm not going to pull my money out of the stock market and I'm not putting it back into my bank account, putting it into a futures or bonds would make sense, especially if I wanted to get a 10-year treasury bond and I can get a 5% return on that treasury bond. And you're going to watch a lot whenever you get these big market turmoils. Your local currency actually, your local treasury bonds actually start doing a little better. So the euro is up almost 3%. UK has been doing quantitative easing, so it's a manipulated market. They would be at about 2%, but because they're in quantitative easing, they're closer to 5%. Germany, They because they're spending money on their war machine right now. They would be because they're also quantitative easing in Germany, and they're down to 3% yield on their treasury bond because they're putting most of their stuff into war equipment right now. France is the same way. They're ramping up for what pathetic military they have. Um, Otherwise, they'd be up a little bit higher. I'm not sure if France is doing quantitative easing. I know Italy is not doing any quantitative easing, and they're not getting into setting up for war right now. But they're being hit with a lot of illegals that's putting a big damper on their economy right now. So their treasury yield is not that big. Canada has been doing quantitative easing forever. So they're way up on their 10-year, but I wouldn't get involved with their market right now, because if they want to get into a trade war with the United States, this will eviscerate. Japanese 10-year will always be negative because the government is manipulating all prices. They cannot have the 10-year treasury bond payout. It cannot happen. So you're basically, if you get into a 10-year treasury yield for Japan, you're basically just giving them money because they're broke. They're beyond broke. And with their economy, with their population aging out, they have no real innovation. All the innovation that was in Japan has either gone to Taiwan or to China. Let's be real about that. India 10-year treasury yield is flatlining. I'm not sure exactly how their market is. China's 10-year treasury will always be negative. Again, they have overspent in their economy, trying to pay for communism. This is a direct cause of what communism does to your treasury bills. And then Turkey breaking even. It's like you could sit there and I don't like them to invest in the T-bills, but they do give you like a market evaluation of where each individual's market's truly sitting at. And to see that the 10-year treasury bill for the United States is actually paying out 5% right now, it's actually not too bad. It's probably better than what we can get from mining. Yeah, I know that one kind of hurts. I know that was a low blow. I know. Sorry. I'm sorry. And then you got your ETF funds, and the ETFs they're not doing good either. Electronically traded funds, the S&P 500 is down, Vanguard is down, Triple Q kind of breaking even, SPDR Gold Trust they're negative because people are going to be sitting there and pulling into dollars right now. iShares, a Bitcoin trust, is going to be pulling back. Why? Because people want to stay in dollars. VanEck Semiconductor will be up. VanEck Semiconductor typically is up most of the time because computers are always being made. Very rarely do I see them going below. This is actually one of VanEck Semiconductor is actually not a horrible investment to get into. Do they have a lot of upside for making a breakout in their stock prices or anything like that? No. So there's not a lot of movement, but it is very stable. That's one thing I can say about this particular ETF. And then you got ARK Innovations ETF. This is kind of a basket of everything that they invest into. And ARK Innovation holds a 2% portfolio in Bitcoin. I think it's either 2 or 5%. I forget off the top of my head. I don't know. I'm not sure if Cathie Wood's upped that at some point in time. Let's see here. The Schwab U.S. dividend equity is pulling back. JP Morgan equity pulling back. So we're not seeing, a market sentiment that is showing huge positives. Sure, we're seeing it kind of do a little cool off at this point, but I still don't think we are done with our little free fall. I think Bitcoin still has a pretty good substantial way to go. I mean, it looks like Bitcoin's trying to recover a little bit here, and this is going to be your retail. Retail is trying to pump the market, and that is just a facts at this point. Everybody in the crypto market is going, "Oh my God, we're gambling," and they're buying into all these different various coins because, oh my God, they are gambling. I mean, let's be real about it, you know. No reason that SHIB is up. None. Other than people are gambling and they're buying into this stuff. A Mantra DAO. There's no value to this. Why is it even $6? Why is it in the top 20? No idea. Bitcoin Cash, same thing. Polkadot, same thing. You know, even Litecoin over time has been dropping out of the top 20, but it is always kind of in and out of the top 20 for quite some time. Same thing with Doge. And again, Doge, why is this in the top 10? You know, there's no value proposition behind it. There's nothing being built on it. It is merely a mining coin at this point for the memes. So, but to see it being traded at 15 cents, seeing that it's up 2%, there's no call for this. Absolutely no call. Like none of these coins have any real value proposition. As much as I like Ethereum Classic, no value proposition. What the hell is being built on Ethereum Classic that I want to use? Really? Like drop it into the comments down below if you're watching this afterwards, or you know, drop it into the chat. You know, what on ETC would anybody ever want to use? And with that being said, does that justify a almost $15 per Ethereum Classic? No. They're rude OnlyFans. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, it's like Caspa is a fucking an absolute shit show that was created just to fucking rob people. And the only people that made money off of fucking Caspa in the long term were the people creating the ASICs. They're the ones that made a lot of money. Everybody else got fucked, right? I mean, let's be real about this. We're not looking at a bull market right now. This is the pullback of a century that we, you know, I'm hoping that we're seeing right now, where things get cheaper. That it is what's needed at this point. Oh, and Bitcoin is at that $80,000 mark now. We are only down 30% from all-time highs. 30% is where we've dropped so far. So think about that. We've got another 20 to 50% more that we can easily drop. And I would think that it's very healthy. And what's nice about a big ass drop like that, you're going to watch hash rate come off. There'll be, if we drop down, let's say $50,000, hash rate on Bitcoin will drop because it can't sustain everybody running, you know, S19s, S20, you know, S21, the earlier S21s, the WhatsMiner M30 pluses. You know, you're not going to watch people with power rates that are above 4 cents running that equipment. So this will be very interesting times, I believe. Very, very interesting times. It's like I'm concerned to see what the market what the market does overall, but at the same time, I'm kind of rooting for this. I know it's kind of weird, right? Where I'm thinking that this is going to be very healthy for the market, and hopefully this hits both traditional markets and the crypto markets nice and evenly. Everything drops down, and it's going to give us opportunities. So it's going to be like the fucking memes, guys. The market's dipping. Buy some. But with what? Right? That's going to be the meme. It's like I've sold everything. You know, what else can I sell? So, you know, it's like I have a kidney. And you know, it's like I got an extra kidney I can sell off, right? Take out a loan on my left kidney to go, you know, remortgage my house. I'm not telling, this is not financial advice, guys. Don't do any of that shit. I know people who have. I know people who have done it and they fucking struck it nicely. I know a bunch of other people that didn't work out so well for. So don't ever fucking overextend yourselves trying to fucking capitalize on this. If you can capitalize on it, cool. If you can't, don't force it, because you can fucking bite yourself in the ass if you do the wrong step when it comes down to finances, and be wrecked for a lifetime. I mean, imagine you bet the house and then you lose. Where are you gonna sleep? you just basically put yourself back to square one in a market that's exorbitantly high. So don't be sitting there and going, oh, my house is now worth $200,000. I can take a $100,000 loan and buy a Bitcoin. It might not work out the way you're thinking. So, you know, just be careful with all that stuff. And I would say that if you're, you know, 8 cents per kilowatt hour or higher, then unless you got a job that, you know, you got disposable income and you don't give a shit about, you can keep on mining because you just like mining. Cool. Otherwise, same person, I would be recommending that if they're losing money or breaking even with their mining equipment, to just buy Bitcoin directly. You know, it's like stop with the I'm gonna mine this and gamble with it, because that's what you're doing at the end of the day. Is you're gambling, hoping that it goes up. Now, we haven't seen an altcoin bull run. This cycle did not include an altcoin bull run. Sure, there was coins that did good here and there. They were sporadic. If I'm talking about an altcoin bull run, I can close my eyes and just throw a dart at a wall with shit coins listed all over it. Buy $100 worth of it, and a month later sell it for $2,000. That market has not come back. We haven't seen that kind of a market in a hot minute. So we haven't seen an altcoin bull run yet. Bitcoin has been just holding on to market dominance, very good, and all the altcoins have been slowly trickling down as Bitcoin took off in price. You would think that with Bitcoin doing a rip that it did, that everything would have gone back to its all-time highs. And it never did. Because everybody was taking what they were gambling on and putting it into Bitcoin. Think about it. All these altcoins fucking kind of plateaued, and fucking Bitcoin shot. And yet the market cap never really dramatically changed for all these other, you know, for the entire crypto market. Everything just seemed to funnel right into Bitcoin. Everybody knew Bitcoin was the way was the play on this last cycle. Now I'm hoping that this is the end of this cycle and we get that 80% pullback, because that's usually what triggers an altcoin market, guys. So if all you people want to sit there and root for a bear market, right now is the time to do it. Because bear markets for Bitcoin is usually bullish for altcoins. Because people get that fear and greed index starts going so fearful that people start going, well, what if I put a little money over here, a little money over there, and then you just watch the dominance flip on the charts. We're not going to see that this time, though. Not in my opinion. We are not going to see that unless we see that full 80% retracement. Then you're going to see people jockeying themselves around to put their funds into places that's not losing money. But we also have on top of that the traditional market crashing. So we're going to have big money pulling out at the same time. So it'll be interesting. Should be very interesting. I'm excited over this. To me, this is going to be a good thing. Some people are going to be like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. It's just a buying opportunity. That's all it is to me. Now, if I'm going to be sitting there mining away on this, it's not a mining opportunity at all. But it's just overall, I think this is going to be an interesting time to be grabbing and accumulating. I think that this is an accumulation phase, and I would like to see a good 80% retracement, allow people to get in. And then with the rest of the market crashing down around it, we'll just have to see how much of these giant corporations go belly up or need to be bailed out by the government. Keeping your house warm operation. No, not right now. Nothing keeping the house warm right now. I mean, I got a BitAxe Gamma running. That's my little lotto ticket, but I'm not full-blown mining anymore. Like right now, I'm using most of my electricity, believe it or not, is going to growing food right now. I have LED light kits for my garden because it's like we're supposed to have. I saw snow today. I fucking saw snowflakes this morning. Northern Illinois had snowflakes, so I can't even put my stuff outside. So yes, indoor garden right now, which is fine by me. I'll grow everything indoors if I have to. But yeah, that's a good portion of my electricity. Big Rome, what's up, my dude? He's like, would you say crypto changed your life overall right now? I would say so, yeah. I would absolutely say so. And I would say that crypto in general has changed my life in a very positive way. I'm now financially literate. In other words, I'm not playing ignorance with the financial market, going, "Oh, I don't know, I don't get it." I'm very literate with investing. I pay more attention into politics now. Not so much of, "Oh, you're a Democrat. Oh, you're a Republican. Oh, get that tribalism going." No. I want to know what kind of garbage policies each side is doing. None of them are doing it perfectly. We're human. We're not perfect. I fucking get this. But I want to know when a good or a bad policy is implemented and how it's going to affect me today, tomorrow, a year from now, and 10 years from now. So I would say that, it's like overall, it has opened my eyes up to things that I kept blinders on because I was wrapped up in my own little world, to the point where now I've paid so much attention with it, I can sit down and have these conversations with people and educate them and blow their fucking minds whenever they realize and they have that aha moment like I did. It was just like, oh my God, we are getting fucked, and it's not and I can't sit there and say, oh, Pep Boys fucked me over after 10 years of loyal working for them. No, they didn't fuck me over. Pep Boys had nothing to do with this. I didn't lose my job because Pep Boys. I lost my job because Pep Boys was under management, and the management companies had been extracting value out for 10 fucking years, to the point where my department was unsustainable to them, because they had ripped all the value out of it. Yeah. So, like when it comes down to corporations, not all of them are evil corporations. Most of them actually want to do good for their employees and do good for the community. And these were things that I was completely ignorant. I always thought, oh, fucking evil fucking corporations, fuck them all. Now I'm understanding that, yes, it's an evil corporation, especially when they're under management. Asset under management. Then they become just a fucking shit show. And then Rude's like, but LEDs don't make heat. That is incorrect. LEDs do make heat. You need to look into that one. LEDs, they do put heat sinks on the LEDs, and then there's also the power supply that turns on with them, even at 150 watts. You like 150 watt GPU sitting next to you will eventually warm up your room. Then it's just a matter of how many of those 150 watt LED systems you got running. Depends on how warm it gets. You know, it's like you're talking about a single GPU per light kit. I mean, think about it. And then Big Rum's like, let's just say it helps us to not live in a bubble anymore. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, exactly. I would say that, you know, it's not that I'm living in a bubble. I'm just not living with the blinders on. I'm got too much going on in my own personal world. I don't care about the rest of everything else. If it doesn't affect me, leave me alone. That was my viewpoint on a lot of it for years. I just wanted to make sure that I took care of me, and that was all that I needed to worry about. It's like, you need an exhaust fan to grow plants. Yes. You don't need to exhaust it out of the house, but you have to exhaust it out of the room. And it's not the heat so much you're needing to worry about. I mean, the heat will build up, of course. But it's the humidity. The moisture will start causing things to get mold and mildew and all that cool groovy shit, you know? Fucking, like, there's no way that you're gonna sit there and get get a plant indoors to survive whenever it's got like 100% humidity and it's almost raining in the room. It's like I do when you run 1,000. Yeah. If you got a little grow house operation going on, yeah, you definitely need to have an exhaust fan blowing that shit out. I don't have enough of that going on in my room there. I just basically converted one of my bedrooms into being a seed germination house. It's like my exhaust fan is humidity and heat control. These do be facts. These do be facts. I have air circulation in there, but it's cold enough outside with very little humidity with my heat running. So like all I have to do is just circulate the air into the rest of my house and I'm good to go. I don't have like 1,000 lights going on. And I mean, I have 1,000 watts worth of lights rolling, but I don't have 1,000 lights going. I could almost sit there and tell you, hold on here. Because I got an Aporia system on here, so I've got a way to be able to monitor every fuse that's in my fuse box. Hold on here. Oop, it wants me to update. Hold on here, and I just hit the wrong button. Not now. Let's see here. My apps. No. Let's see here. Update. There we go. I'm just trying to update that real quick and then I can look at this. Installing. Open. Here we go. Let's see here. A day. So my dining room is costing me about $250 a day. Is what it's costing me right now, and I know that I'm missing a little because I got stuff in my kitchen too here. Hold on. Let's see here. Kitchen. Add another $1 onto that. So $3.50. And then I'm gonna figure in, I'm probably spending about $6 a day to run, give or take. I can get LED. I have one light kit of LEDs in my kitchen that's like 300 watt total if I turn it up all the way, which I don't have it up all the way. And then I've got 9. I have about 1200-ish watts. Let's see here. I want to change this over to wattage. Let's see here. Oh. And I'm running about 330 amp hours in there right now. So I'm like, I got some serious wattage going out of that room right now. Some serious freaking wattage. Let me switch back to units of measurement here. Go to, and I go down as low as like, yeah, I do like, I've peaked out at like $7. I'm like going back far enough in here, so $7 peak in that room. Whenever I'm doing humidity control in there, so I figure I can, at peak usage, I'm probably like right around $10 to $15 a day. That's mining equipment that needs to stay off because I'd rather have food. But yeah, so we all need to sit there and just kind of like reevaluate the market that we're sitting in today and see if it's advantageous for you to sit there and continue to mine. I'm not trying to talk anybody out of going, oh, you should not be mining. I still have a BitX Gamma running. Sure, it's just a single ASIC chip, and it's my lottery ticket. Am I gambling with that one? Sure, but it's not using a whole lot of power. That is like a drop in the bucket of power. So, and what do I do with the rest of it? I spend it on making sure I can grow food, and then making sure that, whatever's left over that I would have spent for my electric bill normally, I'll put into Bitcoin. I'll sit there and buy Bitcoin, but a portion of what I'm spending now is going into food production for the summer. But yeah, I mean, once the summer is done, once I get all that stuff outside, my power bill will drop down to a normal level again, thank God. And I'll be able to sit there and turn around and maybe turn on a couple of pieces of equipment, start mining with it, and hopefully I'll be back to wrenching in my garage, making money over there, and all that good stuff. So with that being said, I've been streaming here for almost an hour and a half, guys. So definitely smash that Lizzie like button if you made it this far, guys. Smash that Lizzie like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. Anybody got any other comments or questions before I head up out of here? And thank you everybody for being here. All that good stuff. Y'all rock. I just have to say it. All 10 of you people that are watching right now, definitely smash that Lizzie like button. If you don't have any other comments or questions, drop some FAs in the Chizity chat, guys. Every last one of you should be at least dropping an FA in the chat. All of you. Just saying. Drop those FAs. Because you guys are rated F. For freaking awesome. Hell yeah, brothers. Hell yeah. F to the MFA. Well, with that being said, thank you everybody for being here. All that good stuff. Peace out. Stay savage. May your watts be low, your hash be high, and your price per kilowatt hour be as cheap as humanly possible. And I'll see you on the next one. Yo. Peace out, everybody.